Separation anxiety. It's a big subject, and it's a subject I've avoided to talk and teach about until this moment, because separation anxiety is a form of panic and loss when a horse is losing a friend. Even for a short period of time, they can panic over that loss because they can't abstractly or intellectually understand that the horse will come back. We can't say to them, he's coming back, and they go, oh, okay, well, I'm all good about that now. We can't explain that to them. So how can you explain to a horse who's panicking over the loss of their friend that there's nothing to panic about because friend might go away, but friend always comes back? How can you explain this to them? There's many ways to approach this, and the first would be the context of the horse. You want to make sure you've got everything sorted. The horse has no major pain or discomfort in their life. They have a species-appropriate lifestyle, and that they are very well connected to you, that they are relaxed in their life generally, that they're not hungry, they're not needing something, they're not under-exercised or over-exercised. So you want to assess all of that generally, because a generally unhappy horse is going to be predisposed to separation anxiety or negative emotional states, generally separation anxiety being one of them. So you want to make sure you have a generally happy animal within context to start off with. I'm doing the best I can with this guy to be generally happy. He's had a huge about face in the last 2.5 years, but still, this is a horse who has had 20 years of his life has been pretty rough. Even when he was in good homes, it was still really hard for him. There was a lot of misunderstandings between him and people. And so this is a horse who is predisposed to anxiety, predisposed for panic, predisposed for fear. So he's showing separation anxiety very well at the moment. And yeah, it's a negative problem, but I just see this as information because I've moved around with him and I've got a herd of 2. So when you have a larger herd, this horse would have more of an opportunity to make bonds with the other horses, so the departure of one horse wouldn't be such a panic unless they're in a big herd and they're really buddied up with one and not with the others. So it's tricky when I've got 2 horses and they're really connected with each other and they've moved about and they spend a lot of time with each other. It's tricky for him to be separated. I don't have a problem with Sanson when I take Sanson away because Sanson's with me. I'm his buddy, so he's not, losing anything. He's losing this guy for a little bit, but I love Caleb, but he's not easy to live with for Sanson. Sanson sort of not babysits him, but has to be a real sort of anchoring force in Caleb's life and is a calming force in Caleb's life. He's helped Caleb overcome his food aggression around horses because he's just such a brick shithouse that Caleb would fight him off it and Sandy would just step away and then gently come back in and kind of worked on his food anxiety. Another example of separation anxiety. So we've got 2 herds here. This guy back here, he's 24, his friends have gone up the hill and he doesn't feel like going up the hill because he's 24 and he doesn't feel like it. And he's come back from a pretty intensive holiday, so he wants to rest down here, but his buddies are off there. So that horse is calling to his buddies up the hill. But a great example there, that's Sombra. Sombra is a great example of separation anxiety that's functional, not over threshold. The horse is expressing himself, saying, hey friends, I'm here, I'd rather you were with me. But he's not flipping out, freaking out, or having like a blackout situation. This horse can have a blackout at the moment because I've been very busy working with all of you. So I've been taking Sanson out less the last 2 months. Also, Sandy had a tooth extraction 2 months ago, so I've backed off on his work while we're recovering from that. So I've got 2 months where he's been really forcibly attaching himself like an octopus to Sanson. So I have to slowly peel back those tentacles. Are we liking this allegory? I have to slowly peel back those tentacles of attachment and codependency in Caleb. The best technique and the most positive technique for working on separation anxiety for the horse who panics about being left behind is what I'm going to describe to you today. It's not much fun to train. I'll be really honest with you. It's not, playful. It's not like a magic button behavior where you can teach a special behavior and that magically solves it. The most positive and the most practical and the best way to train it isn't much fun to train, but it's really important because I could just lock Caleb in here and head out and trail with Sanson and just leave this guy to cry it out. But as I evolve as a horse person, that becomes less and less tolerable for me, to just leave him behind and then talk about ethical treatment of horses. I feel like I have a responsibility to kind of prepare him as well for the departure of his friends. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to do mother and foal bonding in here first. Those of you who've done the online course in emotional horsemanship know what that is. It's about facilitating and creating the emotional phenomena of care in the horse. So I want him to feel like he's cared for, he's nurtured, he's looked after. I want him to feel that way before I depart, because it might predispose his brain to be less panic-stricken when the panic shows up. So I want to put him through mother foal bonding first, and then I'm going to hang out for a little bit and show him the hay that we've put here. And he never gets this hay at the moment. This is the special meadow hay, and he's on a diet, so it's special hay with a high value. He's got water, he's got some shade, we've got very secure place to keep him, and that's really important when you're doing separation anxiety work. I've seen horses run through electric fences of 20,000 volts and run out onto a main road to get after their friend because they spent years and years and years never separating from their friend. I've seen this get so bad when people have two horses in one place that they literally cannot ride the animal without the other one coming along. It can be a really dangerous situation. And I don't pony Caleb. I've tried ponying Caleb 2 or 3 times. It was not a successful situation. It didn't work. He finds it a trigger, and then he triggers Sanson, and it's just not a good combination. And I could work on that, but I don't have the desire to. I've just decided I'm not going to pony him. I've ponied a lot of horses off Sanson. It doesn't work with this guy. And those of you in the Patreon, if you're watching this on Patreon, make sure you've seen the session with Shayleigh from Guided Voice, because that actually came up in the animal communication session, and we had a bit of a behind the scenes explanation why this guy struggles to be ponied off. So I don't have any choice but to work on it in this way. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to do mother foal bonding. We're going to film the mother foal bonding. I might speed it up in post-production, but yeah, I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to proceed on.